Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ESL UK Premiership promotional tournament. We are here in our second best of three of the day. We are 4 games in today. It was 2-1 in the first series. Unfortunately, XL missed out on their opportunity against TCA, who won it 2-1. And we are now in our second series between the National University Esports League and PariaG. PariaG taking the advantage in the first game. If you've only just joined us, my name is Munchables, and this is Vedius, and we are going to be heading straight into Champion Select.
Yep. First, immediately we see a ban on Ari again. Not surprising. I don't think Dynasty's ever going to get to play Ari. It's his fault for playing it too much. He is extremely good at it.
You only get a certain amount of uses, and he's already used them all up in solo queue.
Pretty much. So again, we see another release ban, Alistair ban. Pretty much the same bans as last game. I guess. I mean, there's no real reason for PariaG to change up their bans, considering how well they did in the last game. So we do see a Fizz ban coming out. Not that surprising considering how effective Flash was, but that does leave his Hecarim available, which he was a bit of a monster on yesterday. Yeah,
he seems to be one of these players that just picks up whichever champion is available to him and can carry the game off the back of it. Obviously with the Fizz ban, it'll be interesting to see what he does go for. The Rek'Sai again taken away, so the same bans coming out from PariaG. Let's see what the last ban from the NUEL will be. Obviously the Kalista did do work as well. iPugX managed to get, I think it was 5-0-1 at some point in the early game, so very, very far ahead on that Kalista. We'll see if they're going to allow him to go for that one again, or whether they're going to deny that pick away from him.
Yeah, I expect a first pick Gragas to come out. We saw except unless it's banned, of course. I mean, obviously
maybe we won't.
Maybe we won't see a first pick Gragas. Who knows? No, we definitely won't see a first pick Gragas with that ban coming across, as well as the Rek'Sai ban. So definitely going to have some interesting junglers. Maybe in Italy. Elise's ban is gone. Oh, except this time Annie has been left open. Last game we did see an Annie ban directed, I can only assume, against Ewok, but they are going to lock that in. So it looks like Ewok is starting to get his carry pants on.
Certainly is, and I mean, on the Bard he was just such a nuisance for the NUEL. Wherever they were, he was there throwing out cosmic bindings, just escaping through his magical journeys and just being an absolute pain. And every single one of his tempered fates was just so on point, able to protect towers, able to disengage from fights, and just really playing that to perfection. And we'll have to see how well he can do the same with an Annie, which obviously is a very, very aggressive champion.
Yeah, definitely. So NUEL taking their time, really thinking about what they want to play this game. There is a lot to think about, seeing as a lot of the standard meta picks are currently unavailable. I wonder if we'll see Billy on a slightly more carry-orientated top lane, as we do know that Dynasty and Billy both play Aurelia, so they could lock that in as a bit of a flex pick to swap between the two. But we do see Kalista and Nautilus being locked in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that combo yet again, we've seen it winning lanes all through this tournament so far, and the NUEL obviously wanting that one in their hands. But Flash currently hovering the Ignite teleport, so could well be Hecarim heading up towards that top lane. It's a pair of summoner spells that really we see on Fizz and Hecarim, generally speaking, and the Fizz is banned out, so very likely will be the Hecarim. We already know that he likes to play the horsey up in the top lane anyway.
Yeah.
So wouldn't be all too surprised to see his My Little Pony cosplay.
He also likes to play AP Cho'Gath. That is one of his preferred top laners. So I don't know if he'll bring it out this game, but I do know that he does like AP Cho'Gath. So that's another potentially exciting pick that we get to see.
Oh yes, lots of action always happens around Cho'Gath. He never likes to just sit and farm. Kappa. But we are going to see our next 2 picks locked in. Corki going to be the AD carry of choice, and Nemesis going to lock in that Nidalee. So again, one of the stronger junglers in the current meta. You're able to just pretty much pounce around the map, go wherever you want, and just bully the enemy jungler unless they are playing something as equally aggressive. And with Rek'Sai and Gragas banned out, and Elise, I'm interested to see what the jungle pick is going to be for Hal.
Well, Diana could be a strong AP counter. I mean, well, I say counter. I mean, Diana is a currently fairly strong jungler. I mean, while Nutri was talking about earlier about at least tank, you could also do the Diana tank route, which still works fairly well. So that is always a possibility. But it does look like they're hovering over Jarvan a little bit. Definitely viable. I'm not going to call him strong, but viable is the word that I want to use. He did receive a little bit of a buff to his Demacian standard, so the cooldown is lower, meaning he can use it more often, which means that his overall jungle clear is a little better. But generally as a champion, he doesn't provide, well, depending on how you build him, he doesn't provide that much damage. Definitely early on he provides a lot of damage, but in the jungle you're not really going to get enough gold to be able to go full damage Jarvan, so we will have to see how he decides to play that one out. Meanwhile, Rumble locked in for Billy and a hover over Hecarim.
Now, talk to me about this matchup, because I mean, I look amazing now because the Hecarim is going to come through. Yes, prediction. But in my experience, Rumble doesn't have the best time against Hecarim.
Oh, well, you're never really going to have the best time against an Ignite top laner, purely because they'll always have that damage summoner spell advantage over you. However, in the early game, we can almost certainly guarantee that Flash will do a camp. So he will come back to lane with a probably Flask and probably 5 health bots, and then probably 2 mana bots on top of that. So you're not really going to force him out of lane, which is arguably his weakest point against the Rumble. And the moment he gets an item or two, he should be able to trade fairly well. So I can see this lane going in the favor of Flash. But it really does depend on the jungle pressure being applied, because as I said, he's a summoner, but he's got no defensive summoner. He's relying purely on the mobility from his Relentless Pursuit, and if Jarvan can punish him for that, then we shall see how that goes. However, we do see an Aurelia locked in. I'd be really surprised if Billy I was expecting Dynasty to play Aurelia, because I know for a fact that Hecarim is considered a hard counter to Aurelia.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it, that we're like, oh, okay, it's Aurelia mid, that's normal. It's not like Rumble mid is just so far-fetched, and yet Aurelia mid is just completely meta now. But against that Vixer, it is one of those champions that Aurelia can do decently well against. Obviously, doesn't have a particularly strong escape, and with the inbuilt tenacity, Aurelia can sort of not get punished as hard from the stun from the gravity field. Definitely.
I mean, the whole matchup, the thing about Aurelia is she's just good against mages. You could argue that the way that Dynasty build her is she's a bit of an assassin, and assassins are typically known to counter mages. However, most of the assassins in the current meta just aren't as viable, whereas there's nothing wrong with bringing a top laner mid. So, it will be interesting to see Dynasty players. I wonder if he'll be as aggressive as he was yesterday. It would be nice to see that level of aggression. However, with Nemesis roaming around on Nidalee and the threat of Flash only a single lane away, there is always the threat of him being punished for his over-aggression in the middle lane.
Absolutely, and that, I mean, last time we saw the NUEL play, or not last time, yesterday when we saw the NUEL play, I believe they had 2 deaths. They had 3 deaths, sorry. They had 3 deaths, 2 of which were Dynasty on that Aurelia, and it kind of... I mean, obviously he had like 1 million kills as well, so let's not say that he was playing badly at all.
Roughly 1 million.
Roughly 1 million. Just give or take 100,000. But Dynasty, I mean Aurelia, sorry, as a champion is kind of there are no outs. Once you go all in, you are all in unless your flash is available. So when you're playing that kind of champion, unless you can just kill everyone immediately, you are going to get taken down yourself.
Yeah, we did see yesterday... we noted that Hal could have prevented one of Dynasty's deaths with the Kale ultimate.
Yeah.
But Billy could...
Stand United
and the Stand United was also available. So they decided that they could have beaten the record of XL's only dying 2 times during the quarterfinals, but they decided it was better to ruin Dynasty's KDA. So shame on them. But nevertheless, it serves Dynasty right for overextending. He should know his boundaries. But against this team, I expect that he's already been... Well, NUEL have already been beaten once, so I imagine that Trash Talk Billy's might not be trash talking as hard as he was earlier.
No, certainly not, especially after that top lane didn't really go too well for him against Flash, who did an incredibly good job on that Fizz. And kind of answered our question from the last game, who wins that Fizz versus Shen. It turns out it probably is Fizz. 2-1 to the Fizz so far in that matchup.
I'm glad that I'm not completely a lack of knowledge. I'm glad I still know my matchups.
Well, luckily, You were correct in this one. But let's take a look at this bottom lane matchup now. Kalista Nautilus has been an incredibly strong lane. We've seen it winning a lot of the time. However, they're going to be up against Corki and Annie, who are both incredibly strong laners.
Yeah, definitely. Again, this is going to be largely dictated by the early game and when they hit 6. So if Ayuki and Bears can rush that level 2 and get the early aggression on, then it'll definitely swing in their favor.
Yeah.
However, the moment that the PariaG bot lane hit level 6, they're going to turn on the aggression because the Tibbers from Annie is a terrifying amount of damage. Even with the base stats from Annie, she can still do a lot of damage. And with Corki, maybe by around that time, it depends whether or not they choose to back. If he has his Sheen completed as well, they're definitely going to have a massive power spike. So the NUEL are going to have to be very careful of that level 6 from PariaG, and they might lane swap. However, I highly doubt it. It is an option available to them, but especially with the lack of flash from Flash, kind of ironic thinking about it, but yeah, I doubt that's likely to happen.
It's just in his name instead of in his summoner.
There you go, exactly. He is a Flash.
Still going to be safe. Still going to be safe. But on that Hecarim, you can kind of afford to go without, obviously, the ultimate Onslaught of Shadows not having too long of a cooldown, so you can generally get away with that one in the top lane. But we are shortly going to be heading onto Summoner's Rift for the 5th time today, heading into our second game of our second best of 3. It is 1-0 so far in favour of PariaG. Can the NUEL stay in this tournament? Can they stay in the runnings for 275 quid and their spot in the UK Premiership? Let's find out as we head onto Summoner's Rift. We do just have to quickly wait for, obviously, the spectator bug. It is notorious. Gets us every time. But we are onto the Summoner's Rift, and on the blue side of the map today, we are going to have PariaG up in the top lane on the Rainbow Pony. We're going to have Flash in the jungle. We are going to have Nemesis playing the Nidalee. In the mid lane, we're going to have Cutie Bacon Piggy playing Victor, and then in the bottom lane, we are going to have Pug and Ewok playing Annie and Corki.
Yeah, and meanwhile, as we were reading through that, we can see that the NUEL actually have a 72% fan vote. So definitely a lot of NUEL fans have come out to watch them play in the tournament. It is important to note that even if they lose this game, they can still qualify for the ESL Premiership through the losers bracket, but
lower bracket.
The lower bracket. The lower bracket.
Say it gently. We'll say it gently.
But obviously both teams would rather win here. A win here guarantees them a spot in the ESL Premiership and a lovely prize. But meanwhile, the NUEL will be playing against... the NUEL will this game be on the purple side. And in the top lane we have Billy. On Rumble, we have MC Hal playing Jarvan in the jungle. We have Dynasty playing his mighty Aurelia mid. We have Ayuki and Bears of People 2 playing Kalista and Nautilus in the bottom lane. And from this early game, it looks like they're just trying to get a bit of vision. Want to see where the jungler is starting. And it does look like they're going to have fairly standard starts.
Report AFK Dynasty staying in base, waiting for that extra pot. Deciding to go down towards this mid lane. I say deciding, it was pretty likely that their mid laner was going to go towards that mid lane. But we see both bottom lanes looking to start for their Krugs and Gromp. And we're not going to see... I wasn't sure if PariaG were going to go for that invade. They did have the deep wards onto that Gromp, but they are going to decide to go for these Krugs to start it all off.
Yeah, I do believe that the Kalista Nautilus bot lane should be able to clear a little bit faster. And they'll get to lane. Yeah, you can see they've already finished. They'll be heading over to lane. And interestingly, you can see that Bears has to start... Billy in the top lane has decided to start Cloth 5. So, fairly safe early. Well, Nemesis is getting pretty low in the jungle, but Nemesis will be okay. And you can see now already that early push means that they're going to get an early level 2. The moment these two minions die, they will look to go aggressive.
They're certainly looking for it. Ewok doesn't quite get the stun down. Had the stun proc available, I think, but pressed W before the Q hit, so wasted the stun on the minions.
Unfortunate
Disaster. Disaster.
Oh, hook does land.
Is going to get caught up by the hook from Bears of People. That's going to be a stun onto Ayuki, though. As Ayuki trying to get what damage he can down. Going to be able to rend out. That Corgi deciding to save the mana, though, or not. Just to prove me wrong. Jumps back in and gets the rend.
A nice trade there. Definitely coming out a little bit ahead.
Oh, the spear from Nemesis downtown, ladies and gentlemen. Nemesis picks up the Scuttle Crab.
Well played by Nemesis. I didn't even notice that Nemesis. He's so slick and smooth that he takes that without me even realizing. So, well played there by Nemesis. Meanwhile, in the top lane, fairly even and passive start in the early game. Same for the middle lane. Dynasty doing a good job of farming, keeping up well with the Victor. Obviously, being a mage, not having any reliable last hits other than the weak auto attacks that they have. Will be a little bit difficult compared to an Aurelia, and I wonder at what point he will start to get scared of that already, because early on we do remember from yesterday, the moment Dynasty hit 6, he all-inned his opponent, and today Cutie Bacon has decided to run Ignite against Dynasty, so very bold move against an Aurelia.
It certainly is, especially on a champion like Victor, but we see Dynasty already getting the damage down against his lane opponent, who's trying to trade back and is going to do so pretty effectively. But obviously, with the amount of pots, with the flask and everything, he's going to be able to sustain through this one. Nemesis trying to go top. There is a ward there for Trash Club Billy. He's going to be able to stay relatively safe up in that top lane. And with the cloth, they should be okay. But Nemesis is circling around. He's looking for the re-engage. I thought he was going to walk past the ward then. I was like, you already know it's there. Like, don't go that way. He's looking for an opportunity to get onto Billy. Billy doesn't know it's coming. He's going to be able to shield out from the spear. He's going to have to flash away from this one, or is he? As Flash knocks him away, but in the middle lane, we have another gank going off as Dynasty picks up a kill.
Yeah, very nice pickup by Dynasty there. We did say that the Aurelia early damage is very scary, and running Ignite is a dangerous summoner spell to do against that Aurelia. We do have a replay of that 1v1 in mid. You can see Flash stunned. Hal jumps in from the side, gets the knockup, doesn't even give him a chance to be able to flash away. So very nice play coming out from the side of Dynasty. His flash will be down, but he's going to get first blood, and we saw how commanding he was yesterday after getting that first blood. So very well played by Dynasty, and I wonder if he can snowball this game for the NUEL.
Yeah, he's certainly looking to do so. Last time we saw him get fed on that Aurelia, it was a sorry story for the enemy team for the rest of the game. We'll see if he's going to be able to get that going again for himself, and whether he's going to be able to carry the NUEL to victory and carry them through this best of 3, 1-0 so far in favour of PariaG, but in this game it's 1-0 to the NUEL. Yeah,
and he's already completed his Sheen, very terrifying early back from that Aurelia in the middle lane, and fortunately Cutie Bacon still has his flash up. You can see Hal coming aggressive in the mid.
There's the stun onto Cutie Bacon Piggy. The flash comes through though. Hal not quite there in time, and that is going to be
nearly.
Cutie Bacon Piggy has no summoner spell now though, so Hal still having the flash might be able to get an easy knockup.
And we can see that Dynasty's halfway to his level 6, so the moment he hits that, I expect him to go aggressive once again. He still has his Ignite available. Well, meanwhile, Nemesis waits off to the side to see if he can pick something up.
Needs to do something, because Hal is definitely going to be looking towards this mid lane again. They have to get Dynasty rolling. They have to get somebody on that snowball to get this game going in their favour. But towards the mid lane again, we see both Nemesis and Hal there. But now we see both supports heading towards this mid lane too.
So Party in the middle lane. Ewok trying to make plays for his team. He's actually a level ahead of the jungler. So, ooh, Cutie Bacon Piggy.
He's in a lot of trouble. The gravity field is going to go down. It's going to get Hal, but the dredge line lands. This should be Dynasty picking up a kill. The Transcendent Blades are up. He gets it. Is he going to go down, though? He looks like he will. Flash arrives, but the kill actually goes across to Ewok as MC Hal flashes over the wall. He should be able to live through this one, but no. And he manages to... Actually, it was Hecarim that managed to get that one with the Ignite. Ewok is going to be able to walk away just, and it's a 2-for-2 overall.
Yeah, that was a nice fight by both teams there. Nice collapse from either side. We can see that the original initiation goes on to Cutie Bacon Piggy. The hook lands onto him, but he gets a really nice 3-man stun, which gives plenty of time for the rest of PariaG to catch up to the team. Meanwhile, the damage coming out from Dynasty enables him to pick up the first kill of the fight. The Ignite from Ewok picks up another kill, and that is a really nice equalizer that enables them to pick up a kill. Ewok does burn his flash to kill the Jarvan when potentially he could have tried to run away, but they do equalize by killing Flash through that fantastic equalizer from Billy. So nice TPs from both teams. Slight gold lead for the NUEL, mostly thanks to that first blood game from Dynasty, but even more so now Cutie Bacon Piggy going to be putting very far behind, while Ewok is gaining a very slight and subtle advantage. So we'll have to keep an eye out on what Ewok decides to do with this lead. and we'll see if he can snowball it throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, and interestingly, QT Bacon Piggy taking a huge amount of damage. The all-in is going to come through as the Transcendent Blades happens. It just happens. But
he was slightly aware of the gravity field, I think.
Yeah, I didn't want to quite go for that dive. Obviously, he doesn't have flash available, so it would be very, very risky. But so far, this is looking a lot better for the NUEL than last time. Obviously, Billy and Flash going basically even so far, both with a kill, both with 50 CS. But in the bottom lane, we have a 10 CS lead for the NUEL. And in the mid lane, we have the 10 CS plus 2 kills in favor of Dynasty.
Yeah, we can see again Ewok roaming around to the mid lane. They do have vision of him, but they haven't pinged him out, which means they haven't spotted him. But Dynasty is playing quite passive. He is aware of his lack of summoner spell, and he's not being too aggressive. So clearly good communication throughout the NUEL team. They have acknowledged it, and they do ping out the Nidalee, so they can probably see Annie as well. So nice shot calling, and it enables them to build their small lead in the bottom lane.
And it enables the bottom lane to be so aggressive as well. As
Definitely.
you were saying, they can extend this lead because when Annie is mid, basically there's no way that Pug can get near this CS, because the second that dredge line lands without Annie there to peel, he is going to be one dead Yordle. We do see up in this top lane, it's again very even, and we expected this matchup to go sort of slightly in favor of Billy until we see Flash getting a couple of items, and so far it's pretty much exactly even. Flash going to have an ever so slight CS advantage, but nothing to write home to your parents about, for now at least.
And meanwhile, Hal posturing again around the middle lane. Not sure he's going to be able to get anything out of it, but we can really see a nice CS lead beginning to develop. Meanwhile, a bit of aggression from Dynasty.
That's going to be the stun onto QT Bacon Piggy. Is he going to go down? Looks like he is, as the Cataclysm comes through. And actually, it's the red buff that picks up the kill.
I mean, that was a very nice gank. They recognized that his flash was still down very soon, coming off cooldown. But the flash still down enables Dynasty to get in, land the stun, and the follow-up from LC Hal. So nice aggression coming from Hal. I think he recognizes that Dynasty is their greatest chance of carrying this game, especially on the Relia. So he's focusing his attention there. He's really trying to get Dynasty ahead so that he can snowball and have a repeat performance of what he successfully did today. His early aggression compared to last game is really impactful. So I'm glad that MC Hal is having a much better game than he did in the last one.
Yeah, absolutely. And up in the top lane, we see a pretty heavy trade going across, but neither top lane are wanting to fully commit to this one. However, the more these trades happen at this point, the more Flash starts to win, because look how many pots and how much flask he still has. Billy doesn't have any sustain left over. And actually, in the mid lane, QT Bacon Piggy still taking chunks of damage. Nemesis trying to get in, but doesn't quite land the spear. Dynasty going to be able to walk away with this
I
one.
swear that death ray did barely any damage to Dynasty, and that is scary. Meanwhile, hook lands onto Ewok.
Oh, Ewok in so much trouble. Look at all the knockups landing. That's going to be a kill for Ayuki. And that, in the mid lane, could be a kill for Dynasty as well, as he flashes away from the gravity field. He's going to be able to finish that one off. Does go down for it. But Nemesis is going to pick up the kill. So again, QT Bacon Piggy 0-4 now.
Yeah, we're going to have a quick replay of what went on in mid. We saw Dynasty jump to a dying minion and then immediately jump onto QT Bacon Piggy. Played that really well. He does burn both of his summoners to pick up the kill. He probably knew that he was going to die, but unfortunately he does trade over a kill and an assist. So not entirely worth it, but he's just shutting Hecarim down even further. He's now almost completed his Trinity Force, and on top of winning that small fight in the middle lane, it enables his team to pick up the dragon. So now NUEL, much better start than they had last game, have a much bigger kill advantage and a much more superior gold advantage. Meanwhile, in the top...
Oh, wow. I completely missed that one as Flash picks up yet another kill onto Trash. Well, I say yet another. I'm just assuming that he was fed after the last game, but Billy is going to end up going down. Nemesis with a nice gank up in the top lane. I believe we do have a replay lined up of that kill for you guys, so we can just re-watch the action that happened up in there.
Yeah, we can see here that Flash is surprisingly low against the Billy, and he's still maintaining a bit of a farm, well, harassing a little bit. But meanwhile, in the top, you can see that Nidalee's flanking around from the side. Flash goes aggressive, lands a beautiful ultimate, and then easy follow-up from Nemesis. He does try to flash out of the way, but the Q damage from Nidalee has already landed prior to the flash. So well played, nice gank there from Nemesis. Gets the flash out of Billy and the ignite out of Flash. So meanwhile, Ewok gonna catch Billy out of position.
He certainly is, but he's kind of alone right now. Hecarim is not anywhere near just yet.
Ult still down.
Just going to end up losing that trade pretty much. Not a lot happening there. I think he was hoping that he would have a little bit more time before Billy discovered him.
Yeah, it does appear that way. He is trying, though. He is roaming around the map. Ewok trying to have a massive impact for his team. Just unable to find any substantial plays available. Meanwhile, Bear's going to catch Pug.
Uh-oh, Pug in a bit of trouble here. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage to this Nautilus, though. Ayuki not really close enough to follow up on that one. So just a relatively even trade. Bear's people going to be able to sustain back up with those pots. And I'm surprised how much the NUEL have seemed to just sort of sit back now. They've seemed to slow down the pace of their game, and they really need to keep this snowball rolling.
Well, at the moment, their lead in the bottom lane is fair. They've got a 600 gold lead on that Kalista, which is a decent lead because of how strong that lane is. I'm surprised they haven't applied more pressure, but it's given Ayuki a free lane, which is exactly what they want. Hook does slightly miss in the bottom lane, but really what they want to do is they want to get this Aurelia ahead. That's been their whole goal. They don't want Billy to fall too far behind, but he's got now the Sorcerer's Boots. He's got the Haunting Guy, so he's still going to do damage regardless at this point. So he's not too far behind Flash. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, the difference is astounding. There's a whole, I believe, 1.5 thousand difference between the two mid laners, and that is where these team fights are going to massively shift. The Victor, is not going to be able to put out as much damage as Dynasty, and Dynasty's going to find it so easy to get onto those backlines. So Flash is going to have to make the decision of either focusing Dynasty or focusing one of the two. They have a triple threat comp, something that I've only just realized, and Flash being as strong as he is, who is he going to focus? Because he's going to have to make a decision between Dynasty, Billy, and Ayuki, who are all very competent and capable of getting onto the backline of PariaG.
Yeah, and as well, none of them are behind. It's not like any lane has been shut down to the point where they can just be ignored, as you were saying. So, I mean, Billy, once he's finished that Leandris, the Equalizer alone is just going to do so much damage. And we saw a Fed Rumble just absolutely destroy. We do see Nemesis trying to find an opportunity in the bottom lane. He's not quite going to be able to get there, though. And, I mean, right now it's looking really good for the NUEL.
Definitely. We can see a lot of nice vision control coming out from PariaG, though. Again, same as last game, Nemesis warding up the vast majority of his half of the jungle, keeping good vision of what's going on their side of the map. Meanwhile, it does look like NUEL are pinging around the blue, but Flash walks down, has a cheeky check, and makes sure that that's not going anywhere. So, nice reactionary play from. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane.
Oh, in the bottom lane, Pug having to Valkyrie out
and
of that
in the
one.
mid.
In the mid, Cutie Bacon Piggy is not going to be as lucky as the Ignite comes through. That's going to be Dynasty picking up yet another kill. And they're going to push in towards this mid lane tower. They should be able to grab this objective basically uncontested.
Now, Flash does have teleport if he wants to teleport to the middle lane, but looks like NUEL aren't actually going to take it. That's a little bit surprising. Maybe they want to rotate around to the bot, try and put Pug even further behind than he already is. They have spotted him out, but they haven't seen Hal yet. Hal flanking around from behind. I wonder if they can get anything from this.
They're looking to try and achieve it, but the wave clear is going to be there from Pug. So
ooh, meanwhile,
Nemesis with the immediate flash away from that Cataclysm, making sure that Hal can't pick up the easy kill onto him. And Ayuki just going to look to try and push through this bottom lane as fast as possible, at least get some pressure down onto this tower. And MC, Hal, and Dynasty are around as well to secure this objective.
Yeah, with this tower gone, it enables their bot lane more freedom. It means that they can roam around, apply more pressure on the map, and they might even choose to swap the lanes around. Put Ayuki and Bears in the middle to pressure that mid tower, and they can keep Dynasty in the bottom lane to split push. He does have that Trinity Force completed now, and I'm fairly confident that he could 1v1, maybe even 2v1 that bot lane, considering how strong he is at this point in the game.
I really like this decision as well from the NUEL. They see that Dragon is up in 30 seconds and everyone on the team immediately heads back to base. They can spend their money, they can regenerate all of their health and their mana, and they can head down to this bottom side of the map.
So much vision coming out from the side of PariaG, though. They do have the double sight, so not something you always see coming from a Nidalee pick. Ooh, nearly gets taken away from Ayuki, but does get picked up by Cutie Bacon, so a nice steal there of the blue. Questionable whether or not it was worth giving it to Cutie Bacon P, considering how far behind he is, but they do hand that over to him. Meanwhile, have a look at that vision around the Drake. There are so many wards coming out from PariaG, have full knowledge of where they are. Meanwhile, Is that an engage? No, it does look like they're...
Oh, the teleport is going to come through. That's going to be a home guard Heckering charging towards MC Hal, who's going to be able to flag and drag over the wall of Flash. Just not finding the target that he needed to right there. And that is going to be his teleport down. We did see Billy teleport in as well, though. He's going to look
nice
for
flank.
the equalizer. Flash is going to be the focus line. No, Bacon Biggie gets caught by the dredge line, and Dynasty is going to go ham on this one. He's looking for the back line, but they immediately flash away. And it's going to be a free kill for the NUEL, and they're going to pick up a Drake off the back of it.
Yeah, we can see from the very start of that the beautiful rumble, equalizer coming across 3 members of PariaG. Flash can't do anything to protect his mid laner, and at this point he just has to run away. Annie nowhere near. Meanwhile, while that's all going on, back on the main screen you can see they do pick up the Drake, they do force a Flash out of Ewok as well as Pug, so NUEL having a commanding lead over this game at this point.
Yeah, just taking... Basically, they were given an inch at the start of this game, and they are taking more than just a mile off the back of it. They're looking for this mid lane tower as well, which obviously isn't a distance in itself, but it's certainly going to get them some distance on this map and in this game, and they're going to be pushing on towards this mid game. 19 minutes into the game now, 3,000 gold in favour of the NUEL.
Yeah, Flash does pick up the top lane tower while all that commotion around Dragon was going on, so bringing back a bit of objective control in the favour of PariaG, but the NUEL obviously equalised that by then taking the mid tower in return. So if we have a quick look through all of the item builds, we can see the Leandri's now completed on Billy for that Rumble. He's now going to be doing a fair amount of damage on that champion, while we got the Trinity Force on the side of Flash. So both top laners in a fairly decent position. Flash a little bit ahead with that Trinity Force power spike, but nevertheless still both top laners very strong at this point. Meanwhile, the junglers, we can see the tanky items. A lot of magic resist decided to come out from the side of MC Hal. Good decision, I feel, considering how much magic damage is on the side of PariaG. Yeah, and the early Merc Treads, definitely a good decision from him. Meanwhile, looks like they're going to go for a Zhonya special. Meanwhile, in the top, Dynasty and Billy have been spotted out by a ward.
Flash going to stay pretty far forward regardless, though, as Billy enters the lane. He's going to be able to clear away these minions. I think Dynasty smells alright. Yeah, MC Hal walks up with that Razor Beak buff.
Are they going to dive?
Clear the ward. I don't see any reason for them not to dive right now, as Flash is going to sprint down. Oh, he gets caught up, though. MC Hal with the Flash Cataclysm. Going to finish that one off. And I mean, it doesn't matter how fast you can gallop, my friend. You are going to be taken down.
Yeah, as we mentioned, an interesting stat coming on the screen. We've been hyping up Dynasty's Ahri for ages now, and you can see that he has over 140 ranked games on Ahri. That is one of the main reasons why it was banned this game and why he was unable to play it. So, terrifying champion, but you can see equally so he's terrifying on that Aurelia. He initiated that fight by jumping onto Flash, burning the ultimate almost immediately, and that enabled Hal to flash, follow up with the Cataclysm, pick himself up a nice kill onto Flash. So very good of them to be shutting down Flash now. They recognize that he is a large part of the damage coming out from PariaG, and they're starting to put a bit of aggression onto him. They are gonna lead this top tower. A little bit surprising. I felt like MC Hal could have taken that, but it looks like he doesn't want to be greedy, doesn't want to overstay his welcome, and looks like most of the bot lane are now gonna back away.
Yeah, and rightly so. They do have a decent amount of gold in their pockets to spend, and look at Dynasty as well. 1,700 gold in his pocket. He's going to be able to just spend that as soon as he heads back to that fountain. I'll be interested to see what he picks up. Looks to be a Hex Drinker.
Hex Drinker, yeah. Unsurprising, again, so much magic damage on the side of PariaG. Even Hecarim, while he does obviously use a large amount of auto attacks, a lot of his abilities scale with ability power. So pretty much every single champion possesses magic damage on their PariaG side. So magic resist is definitely what they need. I expect to see a Locket of the Iron Solari coming out from someone somewhere. Hopefully, anyway, that is what we'll see, but we'll see later into the game.
Yeah, and I really like the Merc Treads pick up onto Dynasty as well. Like, obviously, when you're playing this aggressive style of Aurelia, you could imagine going for something more aggressive, like maybe the Zerka Greaves. But with the Mercury Treads, he's going to be so hard to lock down with any CC. Obviously, Aurelia already having the tenacity on her passive, it's going to be incredibly difficult. The gravity field is only going to stun her for maybe half a second. It's not really going to be enough.
Yeah, I do believe actually that Irelia is one of the few champions that enables Tenacity to stack.
Yeah.
Which is why Merctreads is still a very viable option on her, but largely gain it for the magic resist. I believe Dynasty is sitting on 113 magic resist at 23 minutes, so a large amount of magic resist coming out from the side of the NUEL. Definitely in a good position right now to set up for this Drake that's coming in 1 minute's time.
Yeah, certainly are, and this will be their third one if they are able to take it for themselves. Obviously, PariaG gonna be looking to try and contest for this one potentially. They are only 3,000 gold behind in mid lane. Dynasty could be in trouble here. There are 3 people around.
Oh, Dynasty.
He has his flash available. Is he going to go for it? There's Tibbers lands, but no, immediately flashes away.
He was stunned for like half a second there.
Not even that. Not even that.
He was just, he saw that. I'm surprised he flashed away. I guess he recognized he was severely outnumbered, didn't want to take the risk. But still, flash for flash. And that's the ultimate down from Ewok now. Now, I wonder whether or not that ultimate's going to be up in time for the next dragon. I can't imagine that it will be, but that flash engage is definitely going to be down. So, big advantage for the NUEL right now. Definitely in a good position, even better position for this upcoming Drake.
Yeah, they should be able to just take this one basically for free. Had PariaG managed to get that kill onto Dynasty, they would have been in a pretty good spot themselves to get this Drake, but alas, they were unsuccessful. And this should be the third Drake of the game, going down to the Dragon Slayers themselves, the NUEL. 3 in just 24 minutes. I mean, how many knights can say themselves that they've killed 3 dragons in just 25 minutes? Not many, I would wager.
Not many at all.
Except for maybe St. George, but even then, he only killed 1. And to be fair, I don't know how long it took him. Maybe it only took him 2 minutes, in which case he could probably contest the title. But they are going to be able to get that one. The spear coming through from Nemesis, but it's not quite going to be able to land.
A lot of damage down onto Bears. But they do take the dragon largely uncontested. Obviously, they don't need to see the dragon because they will have the timer anyway. But meanwhile, in the top lane, Billy doing... I'm surprised he's getting pushed back a little bit, but they do recognize that Dynasty heading towards that top lane. So
the second he shows his face on that ward, they just run to their hills.
Nope.
Yeah, they're doing their best Iron Maiden impression there and just... running with their tails between their legs. Nobody wants to get caught out by this Irelia right now. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what he goes for next. Yesterday, he did go for the Yomu's Ghost Blade. Wanted a bit of extra damage, and the attack speed that you get from that item is always useful on Irelia, but decided not to go for that this game. Does look like maybe we'll see a Randuin's coming out.
Yeah, a bit more of a tanky mid lane Irelia coming out this game, and Bears just charging around the map with those Moby boots, sailing through the air, getting some nice vision down across the map and around this barren area, which certainly could be the next objective in the eyes of the NUEL. They have a Callista, they have the true damage from Irelia. It's certainly not beyond the realm of possibility.
Yeah, just for those that might be wanting to learn a bit of League, I'll tell you now that if you're ever looking to push your advantage, when you know you have one, move with your team to get deep vision. You can see Bears moving into the enemy jungle, moving their vision line from their half of the map into the enemy's half of the map. This is how you can have better vision control over your opponents, and you can use that to snowball your lead further. You can move around your opponents, you can react to what your opponents are doing, and it's a great way to make the next move in terms of play. You can see now a lot of wards being burnt from the side of PariaG.
They are saying some very harsh words at the moment. They're shouting at their opponents. They certainly don't want to lose this one and make it 1-1. They want to get through to the second, or to the UK Premiership itself. They want to close out this best of 3 in just 2 games, but it's not looking like it's going their way just yet. Still only a 3,000 gold lead though in favour of the NUEL, so all to play for. However, PariaG definitely not in control of the map right now, as we see how going very deep, but they do not want to commit to that job right now.
Yeah, they've decided to send 4 to the bottom lane, maybe trying to siege this tower and get vision into PariaG's half of the map. But one thing I do want to note is the mid laners. What are these trinkets? Why haven't they upgraded them or changed them? At this point in the game, it's only 250 gold to upgrade your trinket. If they want to stick with the green ward update, that's definitely a possibility, but they should do that. It's extremely gold inefficient not to upgrade your trinket. So to anyone watching, upgrade your trinkets.
Do it right now.
Do it
if
right
you're
now.
in a game, upgrade your trinket. Even if you're not level 9 yet, just do it anyway. Email Riot complaining that you can't do it yet. Please don't, actually. They'll probably tell me off.
Riot appreciate letters.
They do, actually. Email them saying, please, can I have an upgraded trinket? And please, if I send you a picture, can I have some RP?
Yeah, draw the trinket. That's the best way.
That's the best way. They'll give you RP, and if not, they'll give you an upgraded trinket. But unfortunately, Snail Mail, rightly named, will probably not get to Riot HQ before the end of your game. So, alas, you will have to go upgraded trinketless until you manage to reach level 9. Good luck in your endeavours, Summoner. I wish you the best. But back to the game.
Back to the game.
We do see the NUEL trying to push down onto this second tier tower and looking like they want to go for this top lane tower now. They've got 3 people up here, as do PariaG, though they're looking to defend this tier 1. But with Dynasty and Trash Club Billy here, it could be dangerous.
Yeah. I just want to note that the Victor going for the Mark III upgrade, I can understand it's not that late to get it, but he's got no other items. All that item is giving him is 138 ability power. Now that's a fair amount of ability power, but you could, with that same amount of gold, invest it in a needlessly large rod and another item, which would have given you about the same amount of ability power and would have given you some bonus stats. So I can't say I'm a fan of that build path, but I guess that's just a preference of Cutie Bacon Piggy.
I think as well, outside of preference, it's kind of what you're forced onto when you are 0 and 6 on that Victor. He's not having a fantastic time right now. He's not loving life to the full at the moment, I fear, but bless his little cotton socks. Fingers crossed, things start looking up for him, and he'll be able to buy some real items.
Yeah, so again, the next dragon coming up in a minute. So it does kind of look like that NUEL are going to play for the dragon game. They don't, I guess they've identified that their siege is actually fairly weak. With an auto-attack mid laner, it's not that easy to siege. And with PariaG refusing to look for any team fights, they're just taking all of these free objectives, these monster objectives. So maybe they're playing for this 5th dragon, maybe they're playing for the Baron. We'll have to see what they decide, but it does look like PariaG are looking to contest for vision around this Drake, and maybe they don't want to give them number 4.
Maybe they do not, and I feel like if they're going to try and make some plays to win this game, it needs to be soon, because right now, if you look at the compositions, Corki versus Callista does not go Corki's way when you head towards that late game, and we'll have to see how this one pans out. The NUEL have arrived, though. They're looking to get this deep vision, and not only that, but deny the vision from PariaG.
Yeah, definitely.
Just falling short, and the spear just doing nothing to Dynasty right there. Those Merc Treads, certainly a worthy investment on that Aurelia. And they're just going to be starting off the dragon, pulling it out of the pit a little bit. Now with this
teleport is up.
Callista, I would expect them to be able to get this. It looks like PariaG want to fight for this one. It is going to go down, though, to the Ren Nemesis. Going to be the focus target. The depth charge is going to get him, but Ayuki manages to go down to the Corki. PariaG is looking to try and survive this one, but Dynasty finally picks up the kill. He jumps back onto Cutie Bacon Piggy. Is it enough, though? No, doesn't look like it, as Trash Club Billy tries to finish him off. He is going to be able to grab that kill.
2v3.
And now MC Hal has arrived in the fight, but everybody's so low for the NUEL. That's 2 kills for Flash, and now Hal is in a 2 versus 1. He's going to look to try and escape from this one with the flag and drag, and it looks like he might get to safety, although Flash is going to be coming around from the front. He's got his charge available. Is he going to be able to rampage this one through? The flag and drag comes through. Is the red buff enough? No, MC Hal escapes narrowly with his life.
Yeah, so, yeah, we should get a replay of that fight. That was a pretty hectic fight. We do see that all kick off by the Drake going down, but you can see the home guard teleport coming in from Flash should be fairly soon. You do see the teleport come in immediately. They drop Nemesis fairly quickly, but unfortunately he drops the Cataclysm. He could have kept Flash in the pit, but all of the damage goes on to Ayuki. That means he drops almost immediately. Fairly nice equalizer drops, getting a large amount of damage onto Cutie Bacon Piggy. Dynasty manages to pick up a kill onto Pug. He almost escapes with some very flashy plays, but then Billy manages to pick up a reverse kill. Now at this point you feel that because it's a 2 versus 3 they have the advantage, but Flash being as tanky and as damage orientated as he is, does manage to pick up a kill, trades 3 for 3 overall. So very nice trade from both teams. NUEL arguably come out ahead because of the dragon that they managed to pick up. That's 4 dragons now, which means the next dragon is going to be an especially dangerous one. However, Flash has gotten extremely strong after that fight.
He certainly has, and somebody needed to for PariaG because they were really starting to fall behind. And to be honest, arguably, I would say Flash picking up all of the kills for that fight is actually better for PariaG than it being spread out across the team. 300 gold on 3 different members isn't really that much in the grand scheme of things, but 900 gold on 1 member is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, while we mentioned that there's a triple threat comp from the side of NUEL, there's also a lot of threat coming from the side of PariaG. You do have a Hecarim doing a ridiculous amount of damage, you have a Nidalee doing a ridiculous amount of damage, and while Victor might not do as much damage, he still can't be underestimated. He still has, I believe, 351 ability power right now, so it's not that he can't do damage, he can still hurt, especially onto targets that have no magic resist like Ayuki and Bears of People too. Meanwhile, Pug has 2 items completed now, and if you realize that all of the deaths are actually on Cutie Bacon Piggy. We mentioned earlier that none of the NUEL's players have really been shut down, but it's really only been Cutie Bacon Piggy that's been shut down, so the rest of PariaG can still do a ridiculous amount of damage during these team fights, so NUEL have to be very careful not to be too overconfident going into these fights.
Yeah, and Ayuki getting caught out at the start of that last fight was a huge part of the reason as to why the fight didn't go much more in favor of the NUEL. He got basically obliterated right at the start of the last fight, and without that AD carry, their damage output is going to be significantly lowered. So we'll have to see. And as well, a fight in the river doesn't really favor the NUEL that much. Obviously, Billy wants to get that equalizer onto multiple people. You're much better off trying to fight in the jungle. It's much easier to get that equalizer and force people to stay in it. And equalizer wasn't really as big of a force in that fight as they would have wanted it to be.
Yeah, definitely. So right now we can see wards all over the map. Nice vision control from both sides. Finally, Dynasty decides to upgrade his trinket, so he now has a few extra wards to help support the double sight stone coming out from the NUEL. So very good there. One thing I want to note is Ayuki's actually level 16. So very impressive from him. He has been spent most of the game solo farming. He's on 320 CS right now at 35 minutes. Fairly decent CS score, and it's as a result has managed to get him a nice level advantage over the vast majority of PariaG. So well played to him.
I just want to say, while you're complimenting Ayuki, Billy was 17 that whole time. So
yeah, but he's a top laner. He's supposed to be.
He certainly is, and we are just going to see the NUEL grouping up around this Baron area, just denying as much vision as they can, trying to clear away these wards. They've not quite done the greatest of jobs. There are a couple of wards still hanging around for PariaG. They're going to know what's going on. It's going to be one of the last ones cleared. The Oracle's lens is going to be able to see. No, it doesn't quite get in vision range of that one.
Oh,
spraying orb immediately used. They smell her out. They know something's going off there.
3 wards in the bro.
Well, they needed to make sure.
Righteous Glory popped.
Yeah, Bears of People 2 looking for the engage. He's not quite going to find it. Hal doesn't connect the flag and drag. The dredge line does land, though, as Cutie Bacon Biggie gets knocked up sky high, but flashes over the wall. There's the Cataclysm onto Ewok, and the equalizer doesn't land onto anyone. NUEL are going to have to back away from this fight, but Flash is doing what he can on the backline. He's going to go down, though. Look at the Ren damage from Ayuki. And there's the Flash flag and drag onto Ewok. MC Hal doing as much as he can. He is so tanky. The Chaos Storm doing basically no damage. This Dynasty has to flash away from that backline. Bears of People too, doing a lot of damage, but gets taken down. And now Ayuki trying to finish these guys off. Pug so low. The red buff, again, not quite enough. Clearly, red buff needs improving. Yeah,
so that all starts with a nice hook onto Cutie Bacon Piggy. He immediately flashes over the wall. He's out of the fight. Then MC Hal dropped a fantastic Cataclysm that cuts off Flash from the rest of his team. Dynasty stays onto the backline. Meanwhile, look at Ayuki in the backline. He's just juking around Flash so beautifully. They realize Ayuki's at the backline. He calls to his team, guys, I need some help. And all 5 of them are like, oh, hi, Flash, we found you. They pick up Flash, suddenly turn it into a 5 versus 4. They chase down onto the rest of PariaG, manage to pick up a kill on onto Ewok, I believe. Dynasty goes in a bit more aggressive. He has to flash away, but then we get a bit of a questionable flash from Bez, but he does manage to pick up a reverse kill onto Nemesis. So they take out Ewok, and they end overall with the 5th Drake.
The 5th Drake has gone down. Flash tried to teleport to steal this one, but he's not going to be able to do it, and doesn't even manage to get a kill off the back of it. So that is 5 dragons now for the NUEL. This could be game-breaking right now. They're all going to head back to base, but with this aspect of the dragon, they might be able to just end the game from here, or at very least grab all of the inhibitors.
So this is the first 5th Drake of the entire game. We can see that they recognize that it's up. They don't even back. They quickly go and pick it up. Flash tries to stop them, but he effectively teleports into his death. Beautiful knockup from Hal, and then the last-minute pickup from Dynasty. Very well played from the side of the NUEL. They don't even have a chance to back, so now they've gone back. They've picked up a huge ton of items.
They certainly have, and with this aspect of the dragon, PariaG realistically just cannot fight them anymore. They're trying to battle through this wall of wards. Can they get the last one? Looks like they can. Billy gonna drill that one through with his drill. But we are gonna see the NUEL grouping up for this Baron. And honestly, I don't see a way that PariaG can fight for this one. I don't really know why NUEL haven't just started this one to force the fight, but Hal is going to go in. There's a death charge onto 2. The equalizer is beautiful as it's across the entire PariaG lineup. That's going to be Corky flying away, but Nemesis is not going to be so lucky. Pouncing over to his tower, but I don't see any reason for them not to... Oh, Hal. Hal just dancing while he tanks the tower, and that's just going to be the surrender coming out from PariaG.
I think that dance at the end pretty much settled that. Like, very well played from the side of the NUEL. A significantly better performance this game compared to last game. We saw that once they started that lead from Dynasty, they got him ahead, which is exactly what they needed to do. They realized that Dynasty was their hyper carry. It drew attention away from the bot lane, which was falling a bit behind in the last game. Dynasty got ahead, and using his lead, he was able to snowball the advantage throughout the rest of the game. Simply from his presence and the pressure he applied from Irelia, they were able to pick up a win here, so bringing the series 1-1.
Absolutely. So in just a few minutes, we are going to be heading into our 3rd and final game of this series, our 6th and final game of the stream. It is all to play for these guys. They're wanting to grab their spot in the UK Premiership, and this is going to be their opportunity. Do not go anywhere.